Welcome to The Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. Oh boy, so we are in a space of transition. And it's interesting because I was thinking about it the other day and I'm like, I was just this way 10 years ago. 10 years ago, almost to the season. I was going through an especially rough patch. And I can honestly say that even 3 years ago, I knew I was meant to make the transition that I'm doing right now, but I didn't do it because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And I wasn't walking in my purpose the way that I should have been. And the revelation came in the form and the way that I did not think was going to happen. And I became displaced, literally. And you guys can go back in my old episodes of my podcast, and there was a altercation. It didn't have anything to do with where I lived, but there was an altercation, a street altercation, and there were stray bullets that came through apartments, one of which was mine. Yes, I was home. I have no idea the details of the situation, and quite frankly, it's been years now, and I just I don't even know all the details of everything that happened, and quite honestly, don't even care to know. But it was very devastating. It was devastating for people to go through that, and everybody's fine. I think somebody had asked me one time when I first talked about it a couple years ago. Everybody was fine. Nobody got hurt. Everybody was fine. But everybody who was affected, their apartment that were affected, they were home. They were home. And I just want to talk to the folks who may be in that type of life. Violence is never going to be the answer. You know what I mean? I feel for the folks that were involved. I don't know what happened. I don't know the details, but anybody who listens to this, violence, you have to understand that. And I say this from, the space of, I didn't grow up in, the silver spoon in my mouth type, life and neighborhood or whatever the case may be. It was not unusual to hear a gunshot or two, and unfortunately, that was not an unusual thing. And when you see neighborhoods changing like that, and you see those sort of things happening, this is when people start flying out to go buy their houses in the suburbs, which is exactly what my parents did. You have to understand how that affects children, your neighbors, just the people just everybody in your neighborhood, and how they have to navigate that every day. There's still some rough parts of New York City that, crime is at an all-time high. We still see across the country in all major cities, not just New York City. You see it in Chicago, you see it in Miami, you see it in LA. It's disheartening, really. The level of violence and gang activity and stuff that still goes on. It's like, man, we're fighting each other, and there's so many other things that we need to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, it just has to stop. And I feel like ever since the crack era came in the 80s and going into the early 90s, it ruined our neighborhoods. We may not have been rich neighborhoods, but we had culture and we had family camaraderie, and folks looked out for each other. And now when I go back to my own neighborhood, I don't see that at all. I see some people trying to keep it alive, but it's just not the same, So when I went through that experience, it was very, very tough on me. I didn't realize how bad it had affected me until I started talking to a therapist, and, well, I should say re-upping with my therapist. And my therapist was like, you went through a traumatic situation and you're really looking like this could be PTSD. And I'm like, what? And yeah, I've never dealt with anything as far as anxiety, depression, or any of that stuff. And thank God, because it could be very crippling, to a person's life. And I've always dodged that. I've never dealt with that. But talking to my therapist and the experiences that I was having and explaining it to my therapist, and he was just like, oh, look, we need to start a program here, to talk you through these things. And he's really great about homework and all that sort of stuff. And to me, and I'll say this too, if you're going to a therapist and they're not giving you homework, not giving you those food for thought things, take this with you this week and think about this, and next time when we get together, we're going to talk about that or whatever, I would have some questions. I love a good therapist who is very straight and frank and to the point, but I love when therapists give homework because it kind of stays your mind on whatever that subject matter is that you're in, and how it affects you in your everyday life. But as I said, transitions happen. And I went through something similar 10 years ago. And this is similar to that as well. I'm not giving out all the details of stuff, but I know that I made a decision that I will no longer deal with Georgia. And to be honest, when these elections and, oh Lord, the early elections and all, listen, this runoff election is coming up December 6th, and everybody's like crossing their eyes, their fingers, their toes, everything. We got so much going on here as a state. It's just, I think a lot of people think that Atlanta is Georgia. And let me tell you, Atlanta is nothing but a small bullseye in the middle of a major red state, and that's just the bottom line. We've been a little purple here, a little blue tints here and there, but it's very different. It's very different. So yes, I will definitely be out, and I will definitely be closer to family, and that right there alone makes me very happy. I had watched a couple of folks on social media who moved back to being closer to family, and not necessarily in the same town that they're from, but just being in proximity where you can get in, you can get in your car and go visit your sister, get in your car and go visit your uncle, and they're not 15 hours away. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. So, like I said, transition is going to keep happening. Changes are definitely going to be happening with this podcast. I'm still recording and putting up episodes as I feel it. I did this podcast daily for a long time, and I'm going to keep as close to that as I possibly can. It's a little bit harder to do when you're wrapping up stuff, but I did promise that I would come on here every so often and give you guys the nuggets and things that I have learned and things that I'm going through and all of it. And you're really going to hear so much of my real life. I've made some cool connections here, but the one thing I will say that I will divulge and I will share, I really haven't had the type of connections here of friends that I can go over their house. And, I've had close acquaintances, both in business and outside of business, but nothing to the tune of those good girlfriends that you can just kiki it up with, and, that wasn't connected to business. You know what I mean? So I said, what that says to me is that I'm not trying to get comfortable, because once I get comfortable, I'm out here, I'm doing things, I'm on the scene, that sort of stuff. And I'm just not getting that comfortable. I'm not getting that comfortable because I know where God is taking me and where I need to be. I know that there is this whole other story. There's this whole other thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And it's kind of nerve-wracking because I'm like, wow, I have to really put myself out there more. And I know that it's a tough thing to do because I really don't like self-promotion. And I know I've said this a million times, but I'm so compelled now because I got so comfortable being here, living here. And I was like, I'll just stay and see how it goes. Nah, this is not a stay and see how it goes type situation anymore. This is, no, Renee, you need to get up and you need to move. I actually said this to my cousin in a voicemail, a voice note not too long ago. I said, I really looked at myself and said, Renee, you are not a tree. You do not have to stay rooted and planted in the same place. You got that plant that's just growing and growing and it's flourishing. And then all of a sudden, after a few months, the plant's not flourishing anymore. And you're like, what's going on with this plant? It's actually starting to wilt. And you're like, what the heck is happening? Just a few months ago, this plant was flourishing. And then you realize the plant is way too big for the pot. So the planter that you have it in is too small. And that's what I've been experiencing, is that I have such huge aspirations of things that I want to do, not unattainable things. But there's so many other things that I want to tap into. I'm still taking my music class. I still want to do stuff with music and film. I've been called to do this on a couple of occasions, but put it off because I didn't think, I don't really have the expertise. But I do. All of the things that I've been doing, all of the stuff that I've seen from behind the scenes of building a show, I've created shows for people. YouTube shows and podcasts and all that sort of stuff. I do know how to do editing. I taught myself. I know how camera works. How camera setups work. I know how to do that. I'm not an expert at it. I would not necessarily do it myself, but I know how that industry goes. I know what to look for. I understand, scene work and, camera. I get all of that. I understand it. I just have to bring a good team around to execute it. And I've been sitting on this and not executing it because, I don't know, just not, maybe just not feeling confident that it would be successful. And the thing is, you shouldn't do something because it's I'm not going to do it unless it's going to be successful. You should still try it so that you can learn. Because everything that you do is not going to be successful. But everything that I've ever done in this business, I've learned from that situation, even if the venture or whatever the project was not successful. So I guess that was why I was always holding back. But I'm not holding back anymore. I was reading up on Ava DuVernay. And if you don't know who she is, well, honey, you just need to Google her. But she is an amazing film director, among many other things. Amazing writer, all of that. And she started in the film industry rather late in life, And when I say late in life, I mean, I want to say she just turned 50, So I'm saying to myself, I'm in my late 40s. She's not too far away in age from me. And I'm like, man, she hasn't been doing this for 30 years at all. So I'm like, wow, you can take that passion and that thing that you've always wanted to do and turn it into that amazing project, birth that amazing, it's like a baby. Not really, but kind of, If you have that project that you're calling your baby, you can't be pregnant forever. Right? You can't. There's no woman that I know that's been pregnant for a year. No. You can't be pregnant forever. You eventually are going to have that baby. So I have a lot of projects that are in those infancy stages. Some of them are a couple years along, some of them are a few months along, but I specifically have one that is ready to go, ready to be birthed, and I've been sitting on it for a while because I just didn't have the confidence to really execute. And now I know what I'm supposed to do. I know where I'm supposed to be. And I told you guys a couple years ago, I'm definitely walking in my assignment. I was upheavaled in a way that I never thought would happen, but it was for a reason. And now, a couple years later, the pandemic is a couple years later. It's about to be 3 years in March. And I said, okay, I'm on it now. So, like I said, you guys, stay tuned. I have a lot of great projects coming. I am in the transition. I will be, as soon as I get settled, I will then let everybody know that I'm settled in, and I will keep you guys posted on the projects to come. So don't worry about your upheaval season, because the transition that's going to happen is going to open up so many doors. And I'm so excited because I know this is going to be huge. I know this is going to be huge. I've already been shown it, and things are lining up for it to be absolutely amazing. And I'm taking y'all on the journey with me. I may go so far as to document the journey. I am going to document the journey my own, but I'm thinking like it needs to be filmed. That's how serious I am about this. But man, anyway, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We're just going to put it out there. God has his hand on it, and I am listening. So I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday weekend. If you celebrate, definitely keep our Native Americans and our indigenous people on your mind, in your hearts, because this time of year is very different for them than it is for the rest of the Western world. And remember, November is Native American Heritage Month, and we got to give props to them because they were here before we got here. Okay? I will talk to you guys soon. Find me over on Instagram. It's my most active social media, at Onyx Queen Media. Oh, put this on the end. I don't know. I hadn't decided yet, but I am going to do a Cyber Monday sale. Okay. So, if you guys are listening to this, it is November 26th. It is 5:44 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Time. I'm going to be doing a Cyber Monday sale. And if you guys are interested in anything related to online services, things of that nature, this would be the time for you. Okay? So, Monday. Actually, hold on a second. Let me see where we are. Yeah, Monday, November 28th, 2022 will be a Cyber Monday sale. I'm thinking of starting it a little bit earlier in the weekend, but I'm thinking it's going to start on Sunday, on the 27th. I'll probably drop it at midnight, but check out my Instagram. I'll drop something on there to let y'all know about it. But I didn't do the whole Black Friday sale thing. My clients did, and they did really well, which I'm so proud of my clients for that. But yeah, I have decided that I got to do something for the people. So I'm going to do a Cyber Monday sale. Everything on the website will have a certain percentage off. If you ever needed to have a consultation or anything like that, I am going to slash the prices of consultations, and I'm going to make it real affordable for people to be able to talk to me and get a nice branding, get a nice branding conversation going if you're struggling with your marketing, all that sort of stuff. So I will be putting those on sale as well. All right. So thank you guys again for supporting my podcast. Please continue to share it and listen. And again, the podcast is also in transition right along with me. So thank you so much again. I will talk to you guys soon. Follow me over on Instagram at Onyx Queen Media. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Online savings simplified. Don't search for coupon codes ever again. With one click, Honey's smart shopping assistant will automatically apply discounts to your cart in seconds. Save on all your favorite things. Easily pay less for products you're already buying online. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Join Honey for free. It takes 2 clicks to add Honey to your Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Opera browser. Find savings in seconds. While you shop, Honey will find working promo codes across the entire internet, and you save instantly. With one click, Honey will apply the best deals to your cart. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Get Honey. Download it today. Visit our link, www.tinyurl.com/ONYXHONEY. That's www.tinyurl.com/Onyx Honey. Start saving right now.